Now, I'm going to make a bold statement that this is, in fact, going to be the end of the monarchy. Now, I'll get into a lot more details today on the video, but it's interesting observing people's reactions to her passing. So we have on one hand people that are crying in hysterics, that are, of course, so much in fear about change. So really it gets deeper than just the queen passing away. And then on the other spectrum, of course, we have a lot of people that are joyous, celebrating the lizard queen finally being dethroned. And I'll talk about that as well. So much today on Earth 1111. Make sure you get subscribed because we'll be talking about many different things this month. I'm finally back in civilization. I was up in the boonies doing so much grid work, so much gate work. And again, I'll have a video about that coming up this month too, to show you where I've been, what I've been doing. The monarchy only ever had power because people gave it power. They gave their power away to external people, places, things, right? It's exactly the problem we have on the planet today, which is why ascension is so key right now and why we are in ascension times, because we were so far back asswards living on this planet, all acting as individuals, right? All giving away our power to any old person out there that's the expert, that's the authority figure, right? And that's really part of, well, not part of, that was the main reason why any of these people ever had power. When people give away their power to external, or things start evolving to be a top-down structure, a top-down society where a few people at the top have control over the others, when in fact we are the masses. They never had control at all, but people just believed they did. And this is why this is such a massive change-up. The fact that she's gone means that central power is now gone. And it's always, right? So when you have like a great figure, whether she was great or not, it really doesn't matter. But when you have someone in power for so long, you know, same as celebrities, same as, you know, rock stars, whatever. When you have those figures pass on or leave, it's always hard to replace with the same amount of, right, you know, people just don't have their faith in someone new. It takes time to build that. And of course, like I said, Charles has already had his faith of the people already eroded decades ago with his scandal, you know, with cheating, and of course with the death of Diana. So let's get into Diana quickly. Understand that, okay, so when people say the lizard queen is gone and they're, you know, running around excited that, you know, one less reptilian gone. Okay, so if you don't know much about this, I'm going to get into more about what is really the true source of evil, which is beyond reptilians, beyond things like this, in the next video. So again, you want to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now, because I'll explain more in that video. And I don't want to get into too much in this one. I want to stay focused on the monarchy. But understand that, right, to get yourself into that type of power position, and even, right, knowing that royal families, right, they have been bred for eons, for hundreds or thousands of years, to be a certain type of person, right? They don't want someone with the genes coming into power that is going to observe that, something's not right here. And I don't want to control other people or you know, pull the wool over others or make others believe that they have to give me the, you know, 10% of their income, right? So the royals that are in place, they need them to be a certain type of person, to be really a money, power hungry type of person that's in their ego, that is really easily controlled by negative forces. So again, I'll talk about that in the next video. What are these negative forces? But understand that, so these royal families, and again, it goes beyond just Britain, it goes into, right, the structures of our society, right? Political families, these rich families that have been taking and controlling the resources for eons. They need these royals to have a certain type of negative ego that they can now be a black hole portal for the darker agenda, which is a bigger agenda than just their own individual monarchy or their own life. So the people that are constantly upset right now, right, that are panicking and freaking out about the Queen, they don't understand that the whole thing, right, was about giving away your power to these people. And right now with the world changing, right, a lot of people are just in fear about the changes going on in the world in general. And of course, this is one more thing coming down the pipe that is rocking society's structures. And people don't want that, right? People like their same old life. They like to, you know, just have their little life and have everybody else out there tell them what to do. They don't want to step into their power. That is really the biggest issue right now, why ascension is so important, is people have given away their power. So it's interesting that people are just in hysterics. Some people, probably not a lot of you, but a lot of people are in hysterics about her passing. Now, there's a thing called Stockholm Syndrome. If you heard that, it is really having that sympathy for someone, right, for your captor. Back in Sweden, I think it was in the 70s or something, there was someone that held a bunch of hostages, and people ended up having the Stockholm Syndrome where they felt sympathy for their captors. They felt that sympathy for the person that was holding them hostage. Now, we have to understand, what is the monarchy? Well, the only reason why it has its power, why it's been able to stay in power so long, is a few decades ago, the royal family and all, of course, the media and all the, you know, all of the public relations people, there's probably thousands to do with the royal family, they needed, right? Because people's belief in the royal family, in giving their power or their, right, in looking up to certain people in that family was fading. You know, they had a huge team trying to make them more relatable. So this is why, of course, we see constant propaganda on TV, and people just get so racked up in it with needing to know about William and Kate and the kids and Harry, and, you know, it just goes on and on and on, right? People idolize these people. Well, they need that, okay? This is, and really as we go forward, you're gonna see there's gonna be a lot more of that going on. Constant propaganda on TV trying to continue to make sure that we have that faith in this family. That's because, of course, the family is losing its power. Well, I'm in Canada, and of course, we also have links to the Queen, right? So it's not just the UK. Australia, Canada, you know, many other countries recognize the Queen as their figurehead, right? I remember being in school for years, throughout elementary school, throughout high school, and every single Monday we had our assembly and we would sing God Save the Queen, right? Talk about propaganda, propping up, right? Giving your energy to feed a prominent figure. You're not gonna work your bum off to give out 10% of your pay to someone without giving away your power toward that, right? Without already feeling like you are supporting something good, right? So there was a huge push to make these royals seem lovable and relatable and just like you and me. Really, without Queen Elizabeth there, right, with King Charles in place, people just don't have the same, right, that same connection, because, right, the Queen was on the throne for so many decades that most of us were born, or even, you know, like most of the world's population, all they remember was her, right? She had that presence of a leader. She, you know, even though she, of course, had her own agenda, people had that faith in her that she cared about their country. Whereas Charles, we all know all the scandals that Charles had throughout time. People just do not have that same faith in Charles to do a thing. So this is why the prominence, the power of the royal family has eroded big time and will continue to erode. So it also stems down to Charles just is not the same type of person, right? He's a lot more worrying about himself, right? Service to self, which of course the Queen was as well. But the Queen, she wanted to promote the monarchy as a whole, not herself. Charles, on the other hand, is kind of all about himself, isn't he? So as things go on, he will make decisions that will be more based on his personal glorifications and his ego, and less about the monarchy as a whole. So that will start eroding, of course, people's faith and the power of this family as well. Right on the other end of the spectrum, people celebrating the death of the Lizard Queen. Well, not to get into too much about, you know, reptilians and, you know, what is the real evil in society, because I'll go into that more in the next videos. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit notification bell, because I'll be talking more in depth about really, you know, was the Queen evil, or was it something else that controlled her, right? Because we have to understand that if you live a life all about yourself and about power and about just all of these negative ego attributes, if your whole life is about that, you become smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, you might believe in the facade that you have more power, but you as a soul are becoming smaller because you're allowing your negative aspects of yourself to control you. And that's why, of course, a lot of people are celebrating the death of the Lizard Queen. But that is simply because, right, those people are still in separation consciousness. This is not ascension. When you're worrying about outside beings or waiting for X, Y, and Z to happen for the world to be saved, that is exactly the problem of the victim, victimizer, savior template. It's a program. So whether the Queen died or not makes no difference in the whole scheme of things, except for it allows a lot more people to wake up. But yeah, just understand that we don't need to be celebrating the death of anyone, because we need to be understanding that it's about healing all of the things within us that open up the door to allow evil into our lives, to allow ourselves to be controlled by certain families, certain politicians or leaders. This is going to set off a huge cataclysm of more systems crumbling, which is a good thing. But with that is going to be a lot of a transition that's needed on the planet. And this is, of course, why a lot of people are, you know, in hysterics crying about the passing of the Queen, just because it's always about, right, there seems to be just more upheaval, more things going on that are stressing people out, that are freaking people out. And that's because we are in it. The transformation of this entire planet into a whole new paradigm. Everything has to come crashing down that is artificial, right? These top-down structures that are artificially controlling our society or our people have to come down, right? When people wake up and they have more connection, more insight, and people are not just going to continue when they can barely afford their own food, their gas, right? When they can barely keep their own utilities on. Do you think they're going to just lackadaisically be paying the Queen, 10% off their wage? No. This is going to start a huge upheaval of a change in power, right? Because when people stand up, when people wake up and are aware of what's going on, they take back their power within themselves. So the power starts to accelerate at the individual level and starts to decay at the global level, the top-down structures, right? These governments, these monarchs, monarchies, they will tend to crumble, because when we take back the power and have the power of the universe, of your soul, and you are aligning with the truth, that is where a lot of these, right, these people, these politicians, these systems are going to begin to crumble. So of course, it's a lot of fear coming up in a lot of people. People don't like change. They want to live their same little life forever. Well, guess what? We are now meant to step into our power. Stop giving away our power to these artificial people, constructs, right? So the Queen, a perfect example of someone who lived completely in that negative ego. At any point in time in her decades on the throne, she could have looked around and thought, no, this isn't for me. I want to actually be there for my people. I want to actually be a leader to my people and not be a leader to myself and trying to hoard as many resources from the people. Right? Total opposite. And she had that free will at any time to step away from kind of her own, right? Her own DNA, really. Because again, these people are bred to be self-centered, to be those types of negative, ego, power-hungry type people. So the problem is in society is we have so many people like that. And that's really why these artificial constructs have to come crashing down, which is also interesting with this massive solar flare that we are still underway right now integrating, because it was so big. Like I said, the last week was absolute hell for me. I will get into more in a separate video. So we have yet to firmly integrate this new timeline. But it's interesting how she died this week. And that's because, of course, the more artificial energies that you hold within yourself, right? The more a negative ego, the more limited aspects of you that you hold, the more that you are going to be bombarded with these energies, and your physical body is not going to be able to withstand it. It's a lot of energy breaking up all of these limited constructs that are existing within someone who really acts in a service to self way their whole life. Right? If you are not acting and existing from your center core, from your heart, being open to others and to actually supporting the whole and not taking from the whole, those are the exact energies that these solar flares are sourcing out and dissolving. Not only in our physical bodies, in the world structures, in the planet, of course, with a lot of different weather changes, things like that. So it's exciting times. Things are going to be coming really, I'd say it's exciting, but we are going to be rocked the next couple months. I will be talking about that video, as well as, like I said, what is the source of evil? Where does it come from? Because it is billions of years old. It is not just, these families that are alive on the planet. The source of the evil is well beyond that. So again, I'll be talking about that. And without fear, when you have the knowledge, that is where you can really take back that power within yourself and make that change, right? When we kind of, close our eyes to things we don't want to look at because we don't want to give it power, well, you're just letting something fester, right? It's like a cancer festering because you don't want to deal with it. It doesn't go away because you're ignoring it, right? So we have to get to the bottom of where these things are coming from so we can change these things in our own life. But yeah, I'll be talking about as well in a video about what is coming down the pipe over the next few months, because it's crazy. We are stepping into, day by day, massive changes. The world is not going to be the same by the end of the year as it is right now. I can guarantee that on many levels. So again, the monarchy is just one thing that is starting to crumble. And again, you're going to see, of course, on TV and everything else, the constant propaganda trying to hold up these monarchies, these different prominent figures. It will be constant trying to continue to get people's attention again, away from themselves, back to external things that don't matter, like the royal family in particular. Okay, I hope you guys understood a bit about what this whole means. The death of the Queen is really instigating a massive collapse of the monarchy, many other power structures on the planet. We'll be talking about lots more in the next video. Make sure you guys subscribe, notification bell. Don't forget to share the video, please. Thank you so much. Don't forget to comment, like, and again, I'll be talking also about where have I been the past month, because I've been up to a lot of different things. So I love you guys. I'm Roxanne. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.